everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show news segment. This is a new segment, and every Monday from now on, we'll be dropping a short 10-minute or less news segment with all of the news from the previous week. This will be news only, no opinions. Some weeks you'll be getting the news from me, and some weeks you will be getting the news from Helen. Don't forget, our regular episodes are still dropping every Tuesday. This is just an added bonus for you to catch up on everything within a short 10 minutes. So let's get into it. Starting off with the FAWSL, we gained more details on Tobin Heath's injury this past week. Heath will reportedly be out for at least 10 weeks. Vlatko, the U.S. Women's National Team head coach, says Manchester United and the U.S. Women's National Team trainers are in constant contact about the injury, and the two training staffs are working together for the health of Tobin Heath. This timeline puts Heath back on the field sometime around mid-April. Moving on, rumor has it that AFC Wimbledon are interested in Chelsea's manager, Emma Hayes. She would become the first female manager of a men's club in professional English football. However, in response to this, Emma Hayes was very adamant in saying, quote, "First of all, I'm the manager of Chelsea. I manage and represent elite, world-class players, and this for me is an amazing job. I spent the last 9 years cultivating all of my energy into it. I'm not looking for another job." Hayes also went on to say, quote, "I just don't know why anyone would think women's football is a step down in coaching World Cup champions, winners, players who represented their country in the Olympics or European Championship is a step down from anything. I think the football world needs to wake up and recognize that while the game is played by a different gender, it is exactly the same sport, and the qualities involved with having to manage that is exactly the same than it would be for a men's team. We're talking about human beings here. But I think, unfortunately, the football world needs to live by its promises and live by the diversity codes and be in a position where they are promoting opportunities for the less privileged." Finally, in the FAWSL, the Conti Cup final has been scheduled for March 14th. However, the time is to be determined. But what we do know is that we will see a Chelsea versus Bristol City matchup for the Conti Cup final. Moving on to the NWSL over in the United States, not too much news coming out of the NWSL, other than the fact that the preseason has started officially. NWSL preseason started on Tuesday, February 2nd. The rosters have officially been dropped if you want to go check those out. Challenge Cup is set to begin on April 9th. Moving on to international news, the Lionesses are scheduled to play 2 matches versus Northern Ireland and Canada. This will be their first game since She Believes Cup of early 2020. The U.S. Women's National Team roster for She Believes Cup dropped and was missing both Ali Krieger and Ashlyn Harris, although Vlatko made sure to say that nobody should be reading into this and stated that, quote, "We know where they're at, we know where they stand, we know the quality, we know what to expect." She Believes Cup will be February 18th, 21st, and 24th, and will encompass countries of Brazil, Argentina, Canada, and the United States. Argentina replaced Japan, as Japan had to pull out citing current state of COVID in their country in withdrawing. Finally, moving into leagues from around the rest of the world, Catarina Macario made her professional debut with Olympique Lyonnais. And moving over to Spain, Kosovaria Slane recorded her first ever hat trick for Real Madrid women and the third fastest hat trick ever in soccer history. She scored all 3 goals within 154 seconds. That breaks down to 2 minutes and 36 seconds. She scored these in the 67th, 68th, and 69th minute. There have been a lot of movements and signings around the world in this past week. We'll go through them league by league. Starting off in the FAWSL, Ruby Mace, the Arsenal youngster, joined Birmingham City on loan until the end of the season. Christy Hansen and Leah Galton extended their contracts with Manchester United through 2024, and Manchester City re-signed English international keeper Ellie Roebuck until 2024. Into the NWSL, Casey Murphy signed a 2-year deal with the North Carolina Courage, and Kelsey Daugherty of the Chicago Red Stars signed with the Swedish side, excuse my pronunciation, Djurgården Football, otherwise known as DIF. And finally, movements and signings from around the rest of the world. The Swedish striker Marja Banusic joined AS Roma Women in the Italian League from her French club Montpellier HSC. Moving into the Scottish League, Celtic FC Women signed Wales international Anna Philby on loan from Tottenham. And finally, in the Frauen Bundesliga over to Germany, Sandra Stark The German international signed with VfL Wolfsburg from SC Freiburg. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was the first installment of our 10-minute or less news segment. Don't forget our regular episode still drops every Tuesday, where we will talk FAWSL, NWSL, International, and of course go around the world, talk through scores and matches that we all got to see happen in this past week, and maybe give some of our opinions. So tune in on Tuesday, and thank you for tuning in to this first episode of the Women's Soccer Show News in Under 10 Minutes. Thanks, everyone.